You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Life is not easy. It never was, and it never will be. A good life takes grit. Prioritize who you are and who you want to be, because life isn't fair, and a little grit can make all the difference. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and I am joined by my brother, the Gritty Broman.
Hi, guys.
How's it going, Brent?
It's going well.
Well, folks, today's podcast is with our friend Ryan Bassham, who is also known as Igetducks on Instagram. He works at Sitka Gear, primarily over the waterfowl space, but he is an avid hunter all across the world.
We go through his Instagram account when he's shown us about these hunts that he's gone across the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw animals I've never even dreamed about.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Tiny 10, folks?
I hadn't until then.
They're
like 10 tiny ungulate species that are under like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
They're tiny.
So we go into some detail about adventures around the world, different types of hunts that you can go on. We kind of throw out cost on some of those, but it's just a neat podcast. If you can watch it, I recommend that, because we're scrolling through his Instagram page, which is a cool follow as well. It's just Igetducks.
There's a lot more on there besides just ducks, too.
Oh, it's mostly...
I get things is what it should be.
Yeah, I get things. It's big game animals across the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have a real cool conversation about it. I think you'll really enjoy the show. And Ryan is a down-to-earth, awesome guy. Before we get into the podcast, I'm going to read to you some words that were penned by Mother Teresa. These words were found on a wall in Mother Teresa's home in Calcutta, India. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. The reason I like that is because if we're always worried about what other people are going to say or think about us, it keeps us from doing things that we should do anyway. Human beings, we learn by having conversations, by putting our ideas out in the open and being very frank and open with our ideas, and then getting a response back. And anytime you have a conversation that's touchy, that's difficult, complex, you risk offending someone. In fact, you probably will offend people. But it's only through putting that stuff out there, it's only through being open, frank, not being afraid to say what you think, that you can actually learn and grow, that you can actually progress. On this platform, I will give you my opinion. I may not always get it right, but you'll know where I stand. I will always be open to new information, and when I learn that information, when I take in new information, I will change my opinion if the facts and the data support it. An example of this is this podcast I recently did about Adam Greentree and the situation in Australia, which, believe me, I thought about not saying anything at all. I thought about just keeping it completely out of the conversation because no one else is talking about it. If I had just kept my mouth shut, I'd still have the same opinion I had when I put that podcast out. Today, I would have that same opinion, probably. When I looked at the Greentree situation, I looked at what the judge did. He didn't convict. He treated the deer like a pig in a park, said it was feral. You look at Adam's statement, and 7,000 of them are killed from a helicopter. And I proposed the question, valid question, why are we making such a big deal? Why don't you spend your time and dollars on stopping this cull from happening rather than, go after this investigation. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. But if you think back to that charcoal that was being pushed in New Zealand that we covered on the podcast not too long ago, the podcast was called Tarmageddon. The hunters in New Zealand see the tar as a valuable resource. It's economic resource. It's a protein source. It's an enriching experience to have them on the landscape and to pursue them. And this whole thing, they see the tar as a valuable resource that's renewable, natural. And from the hunter's perspective, they want to see the tar managed as a big game species. They want to see it valued on the landscape. They want to see it managed. They want to see tags and licenses go out so you can pursue them and harvest them in a controlled way. The last thing they want is to see them shot from a helicopter and left to rot on the ground or poisoned by 1080. But you have the other side within the New Zealand government that says, hey, these are an invasive species. They're hurting the native grasses and the native animals, and they should just be gone. They should be gone. They should be eliminated. And I made my opinion clear that I feel like that there is room to keep the tar on the landscape, yet still protect the native lands, grasses, fauna, animals. That it's not a either or situation. You can have tar on the landscape and you can protect native flora and fauna. We even talked about Kodiak Island, where you have caribou on the island, a non-native species, technically invasive species. You have mountain goat on the island, also non-native, and you have Sitka blacktail on the island, non-native. And yet in America, we're able to manage those animals as big game species. You get tags and licenses, and they provide an economic resource. We're able to manage those animals in a way where we protect the landscape and native species, and yet also profit off of them being there in both monetary and non-monetary ways. And in the case of mountain goats on Kodiak, sometimes you got to wait years and years and years to draw a tag to go hunt those mountain goats. And people pay a lot of money to go to the area and to pursue the animal and to experience Kodiak and to experience mountain goats. It's an enriching resource, right? And so in Australia, you have a similar situation happening with the charcoal in New Zealand, where there's an element of people who want to see the red deer gone, see it as an invasive species, a feral pest that can just be eliminated. And then you have an element of hunters on the ground who are saying, look, this is a valuable resource, like the tar, Kodiak mountain goat, like Sitka blacktail on Kodiak. This is a resource that, if managed well, can enrich and benefit all involved. The last thing that they want to see are these things shot from helicopters and left to rot on the ground. And so you have these hunters in Australia that see models of conservation that are working in places like the United States. And they want to see that implemented in their country. They want to see a model of conservation that's respected and where game populations are managed through hunters and that the resource is recognized as valuable. And so Australian hunters from that lens, from that angle, are looking at this green tree case, and they have different feelings about it than the judge. And my friend Dylan Smith, who's a school teacher in Australia, took the time to write me a very, very detailed and long letter about my first podcast. I'm going to read a little excerpt from it here. He said, devaluing our deer, and I think game management system, right, is exactly what the judge has done. The government shoot them out of the helicopters on some of the public land that is closed to hunters, such as national parks. That doesn't mean we hunters want that to be the case. We want them to stop shooting them out of choppers to A, save our tax dollars, and B, allow hunters access to the public land so we can have a go at reducing their numbers through proper game management. Furthermore, we believe gunning from choppers and leaving them to rot is a waste of a valuable resource and a blatant attempt to devalue them. So you have a situation where you have all these hunters in Australia that want a model of conservation to exist because they want this animal to be valued. And now you have a judge who's made a decision that sets a precedent for the future that says that the deer doesn't matter, and that if you go out there and you shoot one in a park, it doesn't matter. And it's just an invasive species anyway. It's just a pig in a park. That right there really does undermine what these Australian hunters are trying to achieve there. So as you can tell, there's a lot about Australia that I don't know. And so, over the coming weeks, I look forward to interviewing some average, everyday Aussies who know a lot more about their country than I do. And I want to shed some light on what hunting opportunities they have there because, Brent, they have some cool stuff going on.
They've got some weird stuff going on.
They do. Like,
who hunts house cats?
Yeah, that's one of those things that kind of blows the American mind, right?
They're shooting legit house cats with bows.
But some of those house cats look like bobcats or like lynx. I mean,
and some of them look like kittens.
Yeah.
Like, some of them look like a cat that I used to have. A lot of them do. Like they just look like an everyday cat. That like there's a cat in my neighborhood that walks around that looks just like this one. Looks just like him.
What's this? This is
some. I just hunting feral cats in Australia. Then you go to Google Images.
Today, this is a Facebook post. Today, I managed to wait these guys out to get my first kill of species. 3 cats, 1 happy chappy. What's a happy chappy anyway?
Well, first of all, I thought a chap was a man, but that is a woman right there. But there is an article.
She bow hunted those 3 cats.
Yeah. The first Australian that comes along is going to have to explain this to me. I'm sure having feral cats has to be a problem.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It just seems weird.
What was that other one you brought up about smashing grunters?
Oh.
See, folks, sometimes we like just spin off on interesting things about. We start hitting the Google button, and Google, you find some stuff.
It's a lot like going down the YouTube rabbit hole. I found a magazine. I think it's a magazine called Chick Smashing Grunters.
That's the magazine title.
Yeah, for men and women that love hunting, like in very, very, very small letters underneath of that.
Smashing Grunters.
Mm-hmm. And there's a gal in a bikini holding a piglet.
Check this out. Yesterday, I was watching Bow Hunt Down Under, and they have this Coburg 2.0 film. It just came out like 2 days ago or something, I think. Look at this scrub bull right here. For those that are listening, like, there's just this giant scrub bull. And from what I understand, Brent, they're way more dangerous. It's like a normal cow or bull or something that's gone wild or gone feral. So domestic cow, as I understand it. Again, we need to have some Aussies on here to talk about this because I'm, again, talking about things I don't know. But this scrub bull, look at this thing.
He's yoked.
Look at it. And they don't move like they're, struggling.
No.
Yeah, it's just, look at that. And I heard that they're far more aggressive than a lot of, than other animals.
Those cows look like they're packing around like an extra 5,000 milligrams of testosterone.
Look at how close this dude is, too. Oh, and he draws his bow back. It's a cool little video.
Why is his bow making so much noise?
Look, I know, and look at it. He flinches a little. I don't know what happened there, but he didn't
quite. He was creaking like a screen door.
And he's trying to settle now the shoulder. It's angling 1/4 I'm not sure what's going on here. Anyway, he ends up letting down. And look at the markings on that bull, though. It's a beautiful video.
It's because it's feral cows that were there that got off farms and whatnot. But they also bred with crazy bulls from India.
I don't know. I would like to know a lot more, but these bulls are they're cool looking. According to this video and watching this, the scrub bulls are pretty much kind of the pinnacle in a lot of ways of dangerous game to pursue in Australia. Again, I say that with this caveat that I don't really know. I'm not Australian. We're going to have some Australian guests on the podcast to get into that. But they have Asian water buffaloes there, which I've seen Cameron Haynes hunt. Mm-hmm. And I want to learn more about that. What an amazing animal to hunt and to be able to do it in Australia. Again, it's like
Australia makes me think about Texas. If Texas just like I don't care no more and just completely they kind of don't care as it is. It's like they were managing all these animals and they're like, man, this sucks. Just let them go.
I think they just get out on their own. I mean, Mother Nature finds a way. But anyway, there's a lot of cool things. And the thing that I've noticed as I talk to Australians and I watch them and I see how they hunt, There's very few I've met that aren't extremely skilled.
They're a bunch
Like,
of killers.
I think a lot of times they look over at our side of the pond and what we're doing, and some of us, we're like babes in the woods compared to them because they have spent so much time hunting. They can get in 1 year's time of hunting the kind of experience that takes us 10 or more years to get. It's just, if you can go out and hunt feral cats, pigs, foxes, and whatever else might come your way on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
If you can go out every weekend and hunt stuff.
I mean, it's a unique place. I want to get into that. And one thing I don't want to get into, I don't want to get into the weeds about Adam's case, because at the end of the day, all I really know is what the judge said and that Adam pled guilty. And I want to move on to more productive discussions. It's a place I don't want to play in. I would like to learn more about Australia itself, have productive discussions about what can be done. It'll be great to have some Aussies talk about Australia instead of Brian. So anyway, all right, changing gears before we get into the show. Brent, what are the deals and discounts we got going on right now?
We got a code with Canvas Cutter.
Okay.
And that is Gritty
15. Howard. We ran this for about a month or so. Use the code GRITTY and get a discount on your stockasins. And
I'm going to get Daisy a pair of those.
They're just awesome, dude. Like, they are great for just sneaking around. And
they have little ankle-sized moccasin ones that are super cute. They're cheaper.
Yeah, if you're hunting cactus country like Coos deer, man, they're going to be money. Or even Alberta, Badlands, something like that. Because you can sneak around real quiet. Not worry about the cactuses. Get your stalking on. We have a code for gruntworkout.com. Get a month free from Chris Spieler using the code GRUNTMONTH, GRNTMONTH. And we are giving away a Hoyt bow to someone who has signed up for the newsletter. Sign up for our newsletter. Go to briancall.com. Sign up for the newsletter, and you'll be entered to win a Hoyt bow. We announce it via the newsletter on April 1st. So get yourself signed up. We'll figure out who wins the bow. We'll announce it through the newsletter. So make sure you have your junk mail turned off and all that, and you can get that. Look for it April 1st. Enjoy the show with Ryan Bassham. Let us know what you think. Leave us comments. Leave us reviews. We always appreciate it. And as always, stay gritty, friends. Welcome, friends, to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call. And I am joined by my brother, the Gritty Broman.
What's up, guys?
And my guest today is Ryan Bassham.
What's up?
Ryan, you and I met last August.
Yeah, ish. First week of September.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were hunting mule deer in Montana. Early season. Home. They're still in velvet.
They were still in velvet, which was awesome.
The buck I shot, I was within 80, 90 yards all morning in velvet.
Yeah.
And then I shot him that evening.
Right.
Got back on him.
Right.
Shot him that evening. And by then he had shed all the velvet.
Crazy.
Wild. White horns.
Yeah.
Because he really didn't have time to,
and I was watching that
anything.
one. So like at one point we split.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a buck get out of his bed.
Minutes?
And it took him 10 minutes to shed it all off. And it was blood red. We saw him the next day and it was completely cleaned off.
Wow.
That fast. It was cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I didn't think they could. They shed that fast, but it is. It's almost
I was surprised.
Like 10 minutes. It's there one moment, gone the next.
It was like in a little scrub brush of some sort. I was too far away to tell, but I was watching him in the binocs, and just like he shed it all off in 10 minutes in this little bush. Never seen it before. It's pretty cool.
So for people who don't know, Ryan has been on the podcast before. If you missed those episodes, we talked about our mule deer adventures.
Yeah.
John Barklow.
That was a fun group.
Rocket Ryan. Yeah, it was a great hunt. Great
time.
John dropped some knowledge on Sitka products, Sitka gear. We talked hunting, mule deer, early season, in that kind of terrain. Talked about
the Apex system a little bit.
Long shots, short shots,
longer shots,
failed stocks. Yeah, it's good good bit of podcast
Right
there. Because John's really fun. You're fun. Ryan's fun.
Heck yeah.
Rocket Ryan. So it was all really good. So check that out to get more background, to hear some good stuff with Ryan if you haven't. Now, Ryan, you work at Sitka Gear.
Work at Sitka Gear.
You've been there how long?
Been there 2.5 years now. Current role is I'm the category marketer for waterfowl and now whitetail as well. And so a big part of my job is I oversee the go-to-market strategy for those categories, work closely with our product team, and make sure that we're really bringing the full story to the consumer and helping them understand our product line and what's new and great and going to help them in their pursuit.
Now, you also run this glorious Instagram page.
Oh, thank you.
Igetducks.
Igetducks.
I think I'm going to go ahead.
I do like to get the ducks.
Put it right down here. Yeah, you do Igetducks. Tell me about the guide services, the hunts you book.
Really how I got into the hunting industry kind of while I was in college. I mean, I guided a little bit part-time while I was in college and met some pretty incredible people that took a chance on me. And I've been a hunt consultant part-time. I've been fortunate to travel and see some pretty amazing places around the globe and pursue some pretty unique species that some people haven't heard of, some people have. And it's afforded me the opportunity to really get out there and see some unique things. And my wife, as a photographer, when we were in college, she started to teach me photography as well. And so I picked up a camera, and now it lives on that page.
So this elephant, you took that photo?
I took that photo.
And this Cape Buffalo?
I took that photo.
You took that photo. Mm-hmm. So that Cape Buffalo was staring at you, and the one behind it.
Yeah, they weren't too stoked on us being there.
Look at that thing, man. Look at it.
They weren't super stoked.
That is a frown.
Does that not look like he wants to kill you?
He wanted, but it was reciprocated. Like, I was like, put the camera down, go with the gun. Like,
its horns are so trippy.
They're a special animal. They're really cool.
Look at that.
Gotta respect them, man.
They just look ready to brawl.
They're ready.
But think about it. You live among lions. They're not exactly going to outrun them.
No.
They got to do something.
They're tough.
Different. Totally different. So, elephant. What are elephants like?
Man, elephants are...
they tasty?
Ooh, man, you talk about a sensitive subject for most, even amongst hunters. So I actually have got some comments on this photo, and they're like, man, what's your problem, dude? Like, why would you want to hunt an elephant? I was like, whoa, I took a picture of the elephant. Let's calm down. I took a photo of it. That elephant's still alive and doing well. But it's interesting. Elephants within that ecosystem are very unique. And so what most people don't understand about Africa and the countries within Africa are really quite different from country to country. And the carrying capacity, meaning the amount of any one particular species within those areas, it differs. And if you've ever been to Africa and seen where elephants have been, especially a large herd of elephants, they will absolutely decimate and flatten that area. And so when you start thinking about other species there, like Inyala and Tasebe and,
you just made those places up. I've never
heard those are species of animals.
Those are species of, those are animals.
You just made them up still.
Yeah, I just made them up, but people didn't catch it. So, but you look at that and you're like, well, why are we seeing fewer of these species? And it's a lot of times because elephants have gone through and decimated that area. And, as stewards of any part of the world, as hunters, like as humans in society, as we reduce the amount of habitat, it's our jobs as stewards of the land, in my opinion, to make sure that we're creating that balance and stewarding these animals and paying attention to what the biologists are saying about carrying capacities. And so a lot of times too, if there's a value on some of these animals across the world that makes it more meaningful for the people that live there amongst them, they're more likely to want to support keeping them.
Right.
If there's no value associated to the animal, unfortunately, this is just reality. They're more likely to see greater reductions in their population.
It's very hypocritical the way that we act over here in our first world country.
Definitely.
If we planted a crop of some kind and we relied on it for our survival, and then a troop or a band, or what do you call them? Elephants. What are they?
Band of elephants.
Are they a band?
Mm-hmm. Pretty sure.
A herd. They come through.
Most people understand herd.
And they squash that and eat it all.
Now you've lost your
livelihood.
Yeah.
You're slated for death during.
Get rid of the problem.
Right. And it's also
unless that problem has more value.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, It's the sad reality.
Sure.
But Brent and I are working on a piece. There's a website on YouTube.
Let's not talk too much about who it is personally yet, because
we're not, but that goes on and states all these facts,
right?
So-called
air quote
facts about how photography brings more money. That hunting is actually not does not bring greater value to,
and the animals self-regulate themselves. Is the worst one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people in the hunting community that would differ greatly with that. I think I'm
telling you, and he's mostly talking about grizzly bear, and the fact is, no photographer I know of is paying $30,000 to go photograph a grizzly bear.
No.
And how many photographers would it take photographing a grizzly bear to equal just 30,000? And then you add that to, let's say, 250 grizzly bears in BC taken each year times 30 grand. There ain't no photography.
It won't happen, man.
Business that's adding that value.
And there's other examples too. Like, so one that I'm really kind of pumped up on right now, in Pakistan, there's these different subspecies of markhor. And when you look at the history of markhor and how at one point we were getting close to losing them, what the government did there is they placed a value on it. And the people, the community within the country of Pakistan in these particular areas where that species lives, they created value to it. Well, guess what? The population is now surging. It's doing fantastic.
It's a no-brainer.
It's increasing.
It's a no-brainer. If you tell people that elephant is worth $100,000, and they cannot, feed their family with a crop,
right?
They're going to protect that elephant instead of eliminate it because it's threatening their
And there's, the other variable to it all we haven't even discussed is poachers, how they enter into that equation. Well, if there's no value on that associated with that animal, not only
ivory has no value.
Their ivory does, but now there's no incentive for farmers or other people that live around these animals to protect them. And so Kenya is a really good example of what goes wrong when hunting conservation elements aren't applicable within that region in an effort to make sure these animals are being protected and maintained, and that we're truly being stewards to keep them around. So that conversation can go deep and for a long time. But yeah, that's one of my favorite images. That was probably one of my first close encounters with a wild elephant in Africa. That was pretty awesome.
That we could go down that road of the whole conservation status of elephants and so on, but let's table that. We can cover that another time.
Another time.
We've covered it before.
Sure.
We're preaching to the choir a little bit here, but what I want to talk to you about are some of these hunts, the Cape Buffalo. Lately, I've been very fascinated by sheep.
They're pretty
just
cool.
Being to the sheep show a couple of times,
right?
And just look at the bases on that thing.
Yeah, such a cool
on your page.
Cool
some of these hunts are just represent adventure for me. Adventure that's outside of what I'm familiar with. So I know deer and elk. I've done it a lot. Yep. I'm familiar with whitetail now. I'm familiar with coos deer. But I'm learning each of those, and they each bring a certain amount of excitement and I guess
new opportunities to
enrichment.
Learn. Yeah, yes, that's a good way to say it too. Yeah.
And so when I go to New Zealand and chase tar, same thing.
Sure. Yep.
A couple of animals I want to ask you about today are what's sort of in your mind, and I'm setting you up for this because I already know the answer. What is sort of the ultimate sort of sheep type hunt without the sheep type price tag?
Ooh, that's a good question. So this is an interesting response. So I feel like there's two that stick out in my mind more than any. Tur in Azerbaijan, the Eastern Dagestan tur, and then Mid-Asian ibex in Kyrgyzstan. But what's interesting, and the reason I bring those two into
what is this thing?
That is a Becete ibex in Spain.
Okay,
which is a great hunt, super fun. Different set of challenges. I feel like what makes Kyrgyzstan and Azerbaijan even more challenging is that terrain. Like, it's no joke. Like, those are probably two of the more rigorous and difficult mountain hunts that you can do.
It's got horns like a Harley, dude. Like, you just like starfish down the road, dude.
Handlebars.
But yeah, dude. But that Kyrgyzstan hunt and that Azerbaijan hunt are, fraction of the cost compared to some of the sheep hunts out there.
Yeah, what's a Kyrgyzstan hunt?
Well, here's the interesting thing about Kyrgyzstan. So we found out recently that more than likely, we're like 95% sure that all hunting in Kyrgyzstan will be closed after this year. So, hey, I know that guy.
You made it on the page.
Heck yeah, I've got a bunch more I need to post up.
For those that are listening, we're scrolling through Igetducks Instagram page. So while we're having this discussion,
right. But so with Kyrgyzstan, typically those mid-Asian ibex hunts you could do for $5,500, $7,500. It's going to be closed after this year. So you can hunt mid-Asian ibex in Kazakhstan. There's a hammer ibex, which is very similar. I don't know if it's a true subspecies to it. Depends on who you talk to. In Tajikistan, I pretty much am going to safely assume that those prices will increase with the closing of Kyrgyzstan to hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing like the Hume Argali or Tian Shan Argali that you can hunt in Kyrgyzstan. The Marco Polo Argali in Tajikistan is going to go up in cost.
I see.
Accordingly. But right now, today, if you were to go and do the more affordable mountain type hunt, that's not a sheep, mid-Asian ibex in Kyrgyzstan, I'd definitely throw the Eastern Dagestan tur in there as well for Azerbaijan.
And those price ranges are
Azerbaijan. I mean, again, depending on the outfitter, several of the outfitters that my family's worked with, you're looking between 7,500, 10,000. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a group rate. Really kind of just depends.
Depends.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. So you can go and have a heck of an adventure and not have to drop 40, 50K.
What about Mongolia?
Mongolia's got some really cool species as well. Some of your more, it's going to be more on the expensive side. You got the Altai Argali, which is probably one of the more expensive Argalis you can pursue. That could get into the 6-figure range. But you also have Hungai Argali. You have 2 different species of ibex. You have Gobi ibex and Altai ibex, which aren't terribly expensive, but you're still looking, in that 12 to 15,000 price range for those. So it's not one of the cheaper ibexes available.
Okay.
But Mongolia is a fantastic experience as well. All of those places are they're incredible adventures, without question.
What is this critter here?
That is a sable, and that is in Africa.
That is cool looking.
They are impressive. At one point, and it goes back to conservation.
Dang, it's cool.
It goes back to conservation. At one point, these were, if not endangered, they were highly threatened species, but not anymore.
Poor man's goat hunt. I like tar. New Zealand.
Gotcha. Tar. Yeah, that one's pretty tough to beat. It's still a really
complete DIY.
It can be
guide.
An incredibly challenging hunt. That's what I love about it. Like a lot of these hunts that we're talking about, you really can't. You really shouldn't do DIY. That one you can. You absolutely can.
There's no dangerous game there.
No.
There's no black death.
There's no language barrier.
Yeah.
There's no when you start looking at the governmental side of
licenses. I think it's ranked one of the safest places in the world to travel to.
Exactly.
It's the safest place for tourism for Americans.
There you
so
go.
That's been rated for.
There you go.
There you go.
Lord of
no
the Rings,
rebels from China are trying to kill you.
You don't have to look over your shoulder.
No Chinese rebels. Okay. Let's just talk straight up adventure for the dollar.
Ooh.
Say someone wants to go and they want to hunt outside of the U.S. or North America.
Good question. Adventure for the dollar. Let me think on that one for a second.
We throw out hard hitting questions.
You know what? So
I'd
position it this way. Will you let me choose a waterfowl one as one of the two? I knew it.
We want to come back with horns.
You and your ducks.
I know, dude. I know. So I would still say,
but after seeing those mounts you've got in the car,
right?
Yeah, that thing there.
I'm telling you, dude. That's
well. How about both? Give us a big game and give us ducks.
So I would say back to. Really, and it's really kind of unfortunate that Kyrgyzstan's probably going to close, but that mid-Asian ibex hunt. For the adventure, Kazakhstan would be probably a close second for mid-Asian ibex.
That's
highly recommend it. Thank you, appreciate that. Because again, that's a trip that you can go have an epic adventure. It's a horseback hunt. You're probably going to end up having to spike camp and do some bivvy hunting outside of that. It's incredibly challenging from a physical demanding perspective, and will actually really test you as far as.
And where was this again?
Kyrgyzstan.
Okay, I'm afraid of the stands.
Yeah,
the stands.
Let's talk about the stands.
Let's talk about the stands.
I don't want to die.
You won't. Here's what's crazy. So I've got a buddy, Jake Latondras, super good guy. He has hunted with a lot of people all over the world. He just spent a month in Pakistan with a client. And in his own words, he says, of everywhere I've been in Asia and in some of those countries, that's probably one of the safer places he's been.
Turkestan?
Pakistan.
Pakistan?
In Pakistan, yeah. Which most people would be like, oh, that sounds super sketchy. But he said the people there are incredibly friendly, super nice. My experience, pretty much no matter where you go in the world, you can find trouble. You can find bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to live pretty close to Memphis. I grew up, close to Dallas.
Okay.
I felt more in danger in and around certain parts of those cities than I felt in the country of Mexico or somewhere in Asia or Russia or Europe. I mean, it really kind of depends on where you're at. It's the same thing anywhere is what I've learned. Once you get outside of a major city anywhere in the world, things normalize pretty dang quick, no matter where you are.
Okay.
It's my personal perspective. Yeah. But Kyrgyzstan,
so you're saying don't hang out in Johannesburg, just get through it.
Yeah, just get out of there. You get in, you get out. There's nothing.
They won't shove you in a van, and
you need to get out of there. You need to get out of there. So that King Eider, that really colorful one with the yellow bill on it, that is an epic adventure just from the standpoint of getting there. That island, St. Paul Island, there's about 400.
This is a duck hunt. You're talking about a
waterfowl
duck.
hunt. This is a duck. And this is not even like a volume hunt. A non-resident can only shoot 4 of these birds in a single year.
Okay.
So you're literally going to try and shoot 4 birds. There's 400 Aleut Indians that live on this island. That's it. It's a small little village. And it has no vegetation on it. At one point, it's where the biggest the sea lion fur trades would take place. And the Greek Orthodox culture there, that's remnants from the Russians taking over this and like basically putting these people into slavery. It's incredible. So from an adventure standpoint, that's the most afraid I've ever been on any trip because you're out in the Bering Sea in a 14-foot Zodiac inflatable boat.
All right, you lost me. I'm already done.
And you're like,
I'm already out.
You're like,
I can't see the bottom of the water.
If I go
there's
over,
monsters in there. I ain't doing
so
it.
done. And so that one was like, pucker factor was insane on that one. More so, or just as much as staring down a Cape Buffalo.
How much does a hunt like this run?
It's about $5,000, $5,500.
Are the ducks cool? Are they tasty? Like what?
Most sea ducks, keeping it real, are not so tasty. This is purely specimen collection. I mean, and a lot of people won't like that, but you know, it is what it is. You can eat them, but they're not going to be super tasty. No. No.
Maybe you just need to talk to Hank Shaw.
Hey, if somebody can show me how to cook a sea duck better than what I've experienced, awesome.
I got a meat eater cookbook right there.
We should try the meat eater cookbook.
Yeah.
Bring me a sea
I'll
duck.
see if King Eider's in there. Yeah.
They're not wearing Sitka, but whatever. We like them anyway.
Good dudes.
Okay. Okay. You got your duck plug in. Okay. All right.
And that's what a lot of what you'll see on here is. It's a lot of waterfowl.
Okay. Well,
but I've got some pretty cool stuff in there too.
Tell me about Stag.
Yeah. In New Zealand or in Argentina or in Europe.
Which one do you want to go to?
Let's say we want a free range.
So here's what I think is really important for people to understand. New Zealand is awesome. The majority of these huge stag you see coming out of New Zealand, the reality is those are going to be estate hunts, meaning that
they're fenced.
They're fenced.
Yep.
Now, there is free range stag hunting. Most of the locals in New Zealand do the free range. It's incredibly difficult, but the stag aren't going to be huge, right? It depends on what you want. It's a very difficult hunt.
What I've learned is that they don't get very old, basically, because they're market hunted.
Exactly.
Just like buffalo were here back in the day. You can fly in, kill them from an aerial, from a helicopter, and then you can just scoop them up with the helicopter and haul them out. And in a day's work, you can kill, 15, 20 of them, and then you butcher them. And and anybody can hire a helicopter. Anybody can go out and do it and bring it in.
Exactly.
So it's going to be hard if you can imagine if we had a population of an elk herd.
Right.
You're just not going to get very many mature bulls on public land. They're just not going to live that long.
And remember the size of New Zealand.
Yeah. Plus, they're going to target the
not
bulls
as much
in velvet because they actually sell the velvet as well.
Exactly. That's actually
nothing. I mean, that's just. But
Argentina's different. Argentina's different.
That's what I want to get into. Tell me about that hunt.
So Argentina, you've got a couple of. I would say there's 2 key provinces where you hunt them. Obviously, Patagonia would be the desired one. That's true mountain hunting for stag. You also have the La Paz region, which is more hilly. It's not as mountainous.
Yeah.
More brush country. But within that Patagonia area, as far as true free range stag are concerned, I think some of the larger free range stag that are attainable are in Patagonia. Similar roar, which is their breeding season, is going to be in that March, early April timeframe, same as New Zealand.
Yep.
It's a heck of a hunt. It's a ton of fun, super challenging, and it's most similar to like when you're hitting the rut during elk season and you get those bugles going and. It's a
How
rush.
much is a roar hunt in Patagonia?
It varies. I mean, as you go country to country, the pricing from country to country is differed. And so what I mean by that is a lot of times they do have them priced out by class animal. And sometimes that's specific to hunting under a fenced area, but even sometimes in a free range area, they will class them that ways. And so most people go off of CIC in Europe, or SCI is probably the more global standard from scoring and measurement purposes. But the stags in Argentina are really kind of put into categories of representative bronze, silver, and gold based on SCI standards.
Okay.
And they price it accordingly. So if you shoot a base package or whatever you want to call it, that entry level good representative stag, you're probably looking around $4,500. And it goes up.
This is free range.
This is free range still. Yeah. And again, it differs lodge to lodge. There's a lot of different outfitters that price it differently. Some, if you can get lucky, are like, yeah, come and hunt. It's free range. This is the one set price. Whatever you get is what you get. But once you start getting out of the United States, and a lot of people have a hard time accepting that, once you get out of the United States, it starts to change. It's a different culture, it's a different way of doing things, and that's simply how they structure their pricing on their hunts is kind of based on size.
So a silver is what?
Again, it depends on the ranch, but it can get all the way up to 15,000, like gold, super gold, which is you're talking 450 inches plus for a stag, and can be, the next jump could be 6,500, 7,000 in a bronze, 8,000, 9,000 in the gold. I mean, without a price sheet here in front of me, I'm kind of making these numbers up, but that just kind of demonstrates how those prices start to roll up as you get larger.
Where does Africa rank for you?
Oh, gosh. So Africa is unlike anywhere else. It is not a physically challenging hunt for the most part. It's experience and adventure for me. Now, the thing that really gets me jacked up is hunting dangerous game there. That's where the most excitement within Africa is in the world of hunting, just because you're staring down an animal that is very much willing and ready to kill you. And it's a challenge.
More hunters die from the Black Death.
That's right.
Than any other animal.
It's just a special hunt in that way. It's just different. I mean, and a lot of people, what I struggle with sometimes with different hunters is that, they're like, why? I just don't get that. I don't understand that. And that's fine. You don't have to, but I invite people to try and understand that. We come from this heritage of hunting that's been passed down for thousands of years, and these animals have all been pursued at some point or another, and the learnings from going and participating in those hunts and understanding why and how you hunt them in those circumstances is a pretty awesome experience to have. And so Africa for me is about the adventure and the experience. Again, it's not a physically demanding hunt. It's just a heck of a good time, It ranks high for me. I go every year for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, Africa does seem like a special place.
It's not for everybody.
It's so messed up too.
In a lot of ways, yeah, for sure.
It's kind of sad.
It is. It's very unfortunate, and I think it's
and that's one of the reasons
we should
why
pay attention.
Well,
we want to avoid certain things.
Yep. Well, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like I want to go there.
Yeah,
because I feel that my dollars and my time and my experience there could benefit.
I want to go, but I don't necessarily want to go to hunt. I want to go and experience the place itself. Hunting would be a part of that.
Sure.
But there's nothing there drawing me hunt-wise, really.
No, I feel like North America has...
we've got so many
I guess. true
opportunities here.
adventure.
Oh,
but
yeah.
a cultural experience. Africa, it's hard to beat. Plus, the number of you named a bunch of animals I never even heard of.
The amount of species there
and
is
just
incredible.
unreal.
Yeah.
Is this where's this at?
That is Hawaii. So my wife and I actually went there for our 10-year anniversary and hunted axis deer.
We can go hunt Hawaii.
And,
I'm down with that. Yeah, let's
Pacific
do
goats.
that.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What's up with Hawaii, dude?
Man, Hawaii.
You didn't throw out Hawaii. That's a cool looking goat.
He's pretty cool. Man, Hawaii is, I feel like, the ultimate like family opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a spouse that really wants to go with you on a trip, and this is the cool thing about those hunts in Hawaii is usually they're only a couple days. That's all you really need. It's all free range.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, hang out with your wife or your family on the beach for several days and go and get in some pretty awesome hunting. It's like hunting on the set of Jurassic Park, or if you watch the TV show Lost, it's simply amazing. It's just a ton of fun. Tons of game species. There's no natural predators there. So these animals are all over the place. It's a cool experience. I wouldn't say it's not a difficult hunt, but a really cool, fun experience to share.
How much would that run a guy?
Each island's kind of got their own different outfitters. Some are priced differently. I think some of the best ones I've found, is around $3,600-$3,800 for 2-day axis deer hunt. The goats are a little bit cheaper. You can do combo hunts, and
you can DIY that place too.
There's some places you can. Certain islands in Hawaii, like Molokai, the locals aren't too stoked on having even like just normal tourists there, let alone somebody going there to hunt. So Lanai and Maui, I feel like, are two of the best opportunities.
Lanai, isn't that where Joe Rogan went? Lanai.
Yep, a lot of people have been hunting over there. I think there's a hidden gem outside of the Hawaii islands of a really cool hunt that I don't want to.
We can talk about afterwards.
Yeah, we can talk about afterwards. If you're interested, let me know and I can tell you more about it. But it's
Igetducks.
It's a Hawaii-esque type hunt. It's really cool. A little bit further to get to, but a little bit more expensive too. But really freaking cool.
I gotta admit, when I see a duck like this,
see, you're back to the ducks.
It makes me want to go duck hunting.
Isn't that cool?
What is that? Is that the same?
That's the king eider. So those are the ones that I've got down the truck.
Jeez,
pretty special.
The feathers on the back on that mount and the way they cup up and do all that.
That's natural.
It's just like, what are those things for? Like, what do those feathers do?
I wish
just
I could
add flair, or
I don't know the true purpose of
those
those
chicks, dude.
They're like
it's
all about
tertiary feathers, which all birds have in that specific place. Why theirs curl up like that, I don't know.
Man, it's cool.
They're really cool though. It's basically like shoulder blade feathers. What they
have. I mean, looking at this photo of this goat in Hawaii, that's cool. Look at the background.
I was just saying, dude, look at the background.
Cool.
That's what makes me want to go there.
It is a very cool hunt.
It's like hunting in Jumanji.
My wife would love to go and do that hunt every year.
And then you get to eat pineapple and ham.
Hanging out on the beach and do whatever you want to do. We went snorkeling. We did all sorts of cool stuff.
Okay.
I want a legit combo hunt. I want to go to some place and I want to shoot a bunch of stuff.
That's axis?
That's axis deer. Yeah.
They're cool, I hear.
They're some of the best deer meat. I put them over venison for sure.
For eating.
And that's what's cool about that Hawaii hunt. You can bring all that meat back.
Who's that macking on that girl?
That's when I had a beard, which shall never come back because I can't grow a good beard. I'm not like Brent over here. So a good combo hunt. Man, that's tough because...
So, my wife is not a big hunter.
Yeah.
She grew up raising sheep. She's not. I have no fear about her being able to pull a trigger or anything like that. But she's never gone out. She's never hunted. And I'm kind of poor. Brian doesn't pay super well. And so I need some.
Just throw a guy under
I need some lay. Not necessarily a lay down.
We're not exactly rich at the Gritty Bow, at the Gritty Studio here.
But, I want to take her on an adventure. And she's also well-traveled. Yeah. She's been to Spain, Europe. Her family's all from over there.
Gotcha.
So she's not scared to travel. She hounds on me about traveling.
Okay.
We've only got a couple grand to pop out.
Okay. So, it specifically an international hunt,
doesn't necessarily have to be an international.
Okay.
No, as a matter of fact, we'll probably end up driving.
Okay, easier. Okay, so I would say once you get down to the southern states, the wild pig problem there is
that's what I was thinking. She would love to go shoot some pigs
because it's
best pig hunt. Drop it. Tell me. Best pig hunt
as far as where
Dollars and where?
You're taking like one of your best friends on a pig hunt they've never been.
I want a big pig, by the way, with
I would have
gnarly tusks.
I'd have to make phone calls, but like there's certain just regions in the state of Texas where you can't really go wrong. Like the pig problem is so severe. We could figure out which outfitters to go to. I could make a couple phone calls and figure that out.
I would really appreciate
but like,
that. That's
you could go, and,
Bro,
and if you want to like just
let's do it.
I mean, how do you want to do it? I mean, do you want?
I want to go down. I want to
with
whack some
ARs?
pigs.
Do you want to get in a helicopter? Do you want to hunt with a bow?
I
Like,
want
what do you
bow and arrow, and I want it cheap and big pigs.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to be doing them a favor by killing them.
You could do that for like a couple $100 a day.
Just don't pay me this month. Don't pay me this month. Let's do this.
Gritty can finance this trip.
There we go.
I'll go with dig deep in the pockets, and I'll pay for this.
Right on.
I love you.
And right now's a good time of the year to do it too, because like I don't know, like March. I like March because it's right before it gets super hot down there,
and it's my birthday.
And it's your birthday. See, like it's coming together. So March is a good time for him to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Now buffalo. Here's a bison.
Yeah.
Right here. Where was this, by the way?
That is in Yellowstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sort of
North Yellowstone.
It feels like photography cheating a little bit because I thought it was in the wild somewhere, a free range.
Yellowstone's in the wild free range.
When he said Yellowstone, I immediately went.
I guess it is.
Whatever.
Technically, it is.
My wife touched. I might have to cut this out. I don't know. My wife touched a buffalo in Yellowstone.
I suppose.
Oh boy!
I suppose it meant huntable.
Oh, huntable. So
huntable's the other.
There's definitely some places. What's interesting too is like
because Green Tree shot one and now I want one.
Shot one in Oregon.
You know where I want to hunt one is Kodiak Island.
Wait, what?
And yes, I know they were brought there, but here's the thing.
Wait a sec. Wait. Stop.
Kodiak has everything.
Stop.
Yes,
they have reindeer.
They have woodland bison on Kodiak Island.
What?
Mm-hmm. Need about 3 or 4 days.
Cole did not tell me that.
Cole is aware that they're there.
Cole,
there. Cole and I talked about it last week. Cole, where you at, Cole?
Kramer.
Have words.
Maybe it just wasn't on his radar. Maybe I
knows. Well, and here's the thing about him.
And I'll say
it's not like they're high fenced or anything, but they're on a specific person's property, and they kind of come in and out of some public land, like a lot of places. Like you see that in Colorado, you see that in Oregon, where people have had bison.
Yeah,
and now they're. I mean, and so there's places to go and do it. I mean, they're even down in Mexico, the country of Mexico. And so it really kind of just depends on.
Yeah, Ranella shot his in Mexico on a Meat Eater episode.
Yep.
And you're going to Kodiak, aren't you? You got a go tag.
I got a go tag.
Did you draw?
I
did.
Yeah, I blanked on everything in Alaska.
Casey Harvardson and I both drew.
Brian got his tags in like literally within an hour. He had like an hour to cut.
We're going with Cole. I called Cole. I was like, Cole,
so
something happened.
Right.
I keep trying to apply and it won't let me. He goes, yeah, because I have to do it for you.
Yeah.
So you learn a little all the time.
The deadline's today in like 6 hours. Give me your blah and your blah, and we're doing this.
Okay, so free range buffalo.
Yep.
You said Kodiak. What are some other places?
I mean, for some people, they may be listening, going, "Oh, come on, that's not."
I really liked the look and feel of where Adam killed his, kind of in the mountain.
Where was he?
Kind of the way. It was Eastern Oregon.
Oregon, yeah. So Oregon has definitely some herds that are now what I would consider 100% free range. Colorado definitely has some opportunity there. In Alberta,
most of these though, you're not drawing a tag for these.
Nope.
You're hunting these in states where they don't classify them as.
I mean, even Montana, they're not exactly.
If they're classified as wildlife, you got to draw a tag and follow.
Now you still have that as far as drawing a bison tag, like those Yellowstone surrounding states, you can still apply to draw there as well.
Yeah.
But it's tough
odds are low.
It's tough odds. Yeah.
I wondered about Canada. I know there's a bunch of herds up in Canada. As we drove through,
those are the
BC.
bigger woodland.
When we drove through BC, they had buffalo there.
Those woodland bison are a lot bigger. They're darker in color. They're
what was Green Trees? Because it's giant.
It's big. It's not a woodland though. Those are all northern. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's consider.
I don't know, but his horns look
buffalo.
nothing like the horns on that buffalo.
No, Green
Trees. This is a younger one. I mean, not super young, but I wouldn't say that's a big mature
Green
bison.
Tree's horns came almost straight out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they were
all busted. Like just gnarly. It was an old bull.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Cool.
So I'm gonna have to look into Kodiak. What's a Kodiak hunt cost?
It's like 7,500, 8,500. Yeah, a lot of those bison hunts are around. That
but are they
price
cool?
Some are all the way up to 2,000.
I mean, Kodiak is cool, but I'm trying to picture how.
Man, there's some out there like you kind of have to be careful. It's like it's a 1 day. Like for some guys, they're average. It's a 1 day hunt. You're gonna come out here, you're gonna drive out here, and you're gonna shoot the thing. Not interested. For me personally.
Well, I don't want it to feel like I'm hunting a cow.
And that's what I kind of like
domestic cow.
about the Kodiak hunt is that
I want a wild buffalo.
You know, like you need to string together a few days.
I kind of want a wild buffalo on a native ground. That's where Kodiak sort of
exactly. In which case,
and I'm totally hypocritical
Oregon,
here,
Colorado,
because mountain goats are not native there either, and neither is Sitka blacktail. But I'm okay with that.
But here's the thing: it's you're hard pressed to sit there and say, "Oh, I want to hunt bison." And okay, well then,
in the tundra, I kind of wanted them in the plains. You know, like
the tundra could be kind of cool though.
It's a cool hunt,
like Buffalo Bill.
Kodiak's a cool place.
Okay, so
shoot a buffalo.
You're not much help on the buffalo front.
I'm not. I mean,
the bison thing.
It's limited options, really. Like I don't know.
Okay, let's keep looking through.
I do think one of the cutest things on the planet is a dog with a duck.
You know those photos do really well.
I do want to go hunt Australia for water buffalo.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay, we saw this earlier.
Water buffalo too.
Okay, this thing. By the way,
how is that not flagged? You put a wiener up on Instagram, dude.
His snood,
dude. It's just that thing's a freak.
Dirty looking, man.
For those that are listening, there's a giant neon blue turkey type bird with a ball sack on its head.
Yep. That's what it looks like.
With some orange tumors. I would suggest going and checking it out right now.
That's what STDs look like.
Pretty much. That's Brent nailed
accurate.
it.
Yeah. This is an ocellated turkey. Most commonly found in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico and down into Venezuela.
That's an ocellated.
This is the ocellated, not to be confused with Osceola. A lot of people confuse that.
What is ocellated? You lost me.
So this is there's 6 subspecies of turkeys, right? This one is not like the other 5 subspecies.
Kind of peacockish.
They are, and
it's throwing berries out of its head.
They don't have a beard. Mm-hmm. The males and females look identical. They're kind of hard to distinguish the difference, and they don't gobble like the other 5 subspecies.
But they definitely are a turkey.
Yes,
looks turkey-ish.
They taste like turkey.
Yes, they're good. Yeah, so you've got Osceolas, which are only found in Florida. Then you have your eastern turkey, your Rios, your Merriams. You have Gould's turkey, which can be found in like southern New Mexico, Arizona, and more so in the country of Mexico, all along the Sierra Madre range.
Where are the ocellated?
The ocellated are in the Yucatan Peninsula. So you fly into Campeche, which is on the
opposite side
of Cancun, the west side of the Yucatan Peninsula. And that is, now, you were talking about adventures. This is an adventure. This is no cell phones, no electricity. You're on a sat phone if you need to communicate with the outside world, and you're in the land of the Mayans. Like literally, there's Mayan ruins.
That's what this bird looks like.
It's
like
cool
a Mayan ruin,
and it is challenging. And there's also brocket.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, brocket deer there.
I think I saw that thing etched in the side of the Machu Picchu.
It's one of those creatures. Yeah.
What's a brocket deer?
So a brocket deer often gets confused with some of the tiny antelope from Africa. It's there's 3 different subspecies. There's a gray brocket deer, brown brocket deer, and a red brocket deer. They're about 40 pounds, and they've got little short horns. A lot of people think they're like a dik or a Sunni or a Steenbok from Africa, but they're not. They're different species. More commonly related to the deer family here in North America, because that's where they're from.
By the way, in WTF, who thought of that?
I think NWTF was an acronym well before the whole WTF thing started in social media. So, to their credit, NWTF has been around much longer than that.
All right, because I can think of a lot of things.
National Wild Turkey Federation, for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was lost. I was like,
National Wild Turkey Federation is what that stands for.
That looks like a cool adventure hunt.
It is. And that, so within Turkey, the world of Turkey.
And I like Cancun. I like the Yucatan
you can jump
Peninsula.
over there, for sure.
I like all of that stuff. It's
cool,
super cool.
But you've got
swimming in the Osceolas or the No.
The
Osetes or the...
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the word.
Yeah.
It's a Mayan word.
My Spanish is on point.
I can't think of the word. I know what you're talking about, though. We honeymooned in
the
Tulum
fresh
over there. Yeah.
water pools.
Yes. Those
in the caves and stuff. That was
super
so
cool
awesome.
over there.
And then scuba diving
Similar
in the ocean
But
and the coral reefs.
that
and stuff.
ocellated turkey, that would make up the World Turkey Slam. So most people, when they're trying to obtain their World Turkey Slam, that's usually the last.
I haven't even killed a turkey in my life.
Got to get started, man.
So I'm working on that.
Got to get started.
I don't think I'm going to start there. I don't think I could eat that thing.
It's really good.
I am
It's super
addicted
tasty
to it now, though. Having done it, I'm super anxious to
It's fun.
go and do it some more.
Super fun.
Did you tell me how much the oscillated hunt cost?
It's about $3,600. It's a 5-day hunt.
That's a pretty cool adventure to go
It's
down
a
there
cool
for
adventure.
that
Yeah,
price.
I did it with my dad. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Brent, what do you think of that? That's the head. You see that?
He's not digging it, man.
That's it. That's actually the neck.
Yellow and red warts.
I see a beak coming out, but that otherwise I'm like confused.
They're gorgeous birds.
There you go, Brent. Except for they look like a guy's junk.
They do a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. What's this critter?
Which one?
Ibex.
This one. So that's a Sind Ibex. That's a friend of mine that's actually going to Kyrgyzstan with me this year. That's in Pakistan, southern Pakistan.
Not
Karachi
interested.
region. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole stands, Any place where heads get lopped off.
I do want to hunt ibex super bad. When I talk to different guys that hunt goats
really
and
good
hunt
option.
sheep and everything, they're like, man, ibex
They're awesome.
incredible.
Yeah.
If you're into the sheep and the goat thing. What about chamois on a budget?
I feel like New Zealand's still a really good option for chamois or chamois, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But in Spain, there's 2 different subspecies of chamois as well. Spain's really cool. I mean, a little bit more pricey than other places, but not terrible.
What is that?
That's a brown hyena. So I was actually hunting in Spain this past December. I hunted in Turkey for Bezoar ibex, and then head over to Spain. Spain has 4 species of ibexes, 2 species of chamois. You can hunt mouflon there. You can hunt red deer, roe deer, a ton of options in Spain. So that's a really cool place to go and hunt chamois. A little bit more expensive than New Zealand, but amazing country, really cool culture experience. Not a terribly physically demanding hunt, but still challenging. So that's a good one as well.
Okay. What is that bird?
That is a cinnamon teal. That's my good buddy Matt Goodrich. He is
That's a pretty bird.
He is a bird nerd such as myself. Yeah, they're gorgeous. Gorgeous birds.
Okay. Brown hyena?
There's a brown hyena.
That thing's creepy, dude. Looks like
It's
a bat.
creepy. So we were
in a dog's body.
That's about as close to a werewolf as you're going to see.
Brian and I have gone down the hyena hole a couple of times.
Yeah.
Hyenas are freaks, man.
They're weird.
Dude,
They're
you're talking
not
about the most awful
normal
smell.
animals.
They're not related to dogs at all.
They're like prehistoric.
They're nasty.
They've been around
Nasty.
a long
anything that has
time.
a
Nasty
vestigial vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cool. I don't
not
like
cool.
those
It's
words
not
in
right.
conjunction with each
That's
other.
not right. It shouldn't
No.
be that way. So we were stalking down a riverbed looking for kudu, actually, and this thing came busting out of the brush. We didn't see it. It was bedded down. My PH was like, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. And,
What's a PH?
professional hunter.
hunter.
So in Africa, the guides are referred to as PHs.
This
Okay.
guy.
Professional hunters, yeah. Good question. It was kind of cool. It just so happened to have the CITES permit in case we saw one, so it was good to be able to do that. But I mean, yeah. Think about it. They live off of dead animals.
Yeah, they're carrying.
They
there's so much-
stink.
Yeah, there's
Man.
some.
That's a nightmare creature.
It really is.
It's like a step above a spider.
It truly is.
Okay, man.
Is how we should do all of our podcasts. Just
Ryan,
scroll down
yeah, I
people's
could just-
Instagrams,
I could
dude.
Taking me
just-
down memory lane. I haven't
This
gone
is
that
incredible.
far back through there. It's
This
been
is
a while.
incredible.
You really
Where-
are the Dos Equis guy.
Mexico bear?
So that's New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's New Mexico.
That's a good
So
sized
I've
bear.
heard New
There's
Mexico is a
some
pretty
real-
sweet place to go hunting.
It is.
But
And-
no one really talks about
They're
it.
not the
you
most
know-
friendly toward non-residents. They used to
It
be.
used to be. It can be a little tough.
No.
But I mean, on black bear and mountain lion, as far as running dogs and working with the houndsmen over there, man, that's a cool hunt. In fact, I'm going to do mountain lion there this upcoming winter for sure.
How many Cape Buffalo have you shot?
3. Yeah, but I've been on a few, other than just the ones that I've taken. I mean, I'm game all day. Like if I could go and just be with somebody on a Cape Buffalo hunt all day, I'd be as happy.
That's kind of how I am.
could
Like
be.
I want to hunt, but I'm cool to go out with the camera.
Just being on a buff hunt,
Film a
is
hunt, dude.
a rush. You don't have to be on the trigger.
That's how I feel about a sheep hunt right now.
The
I
one that
really
I just
want to
did,
go on a bighorn or doll or something.
I want to
Never-
go up and
it's
just
awesome.
film Tannis and Dorn hunt. Like I don't even want to hunt. I just want
Yeah.
to film it.
Me
It's
too.
it's awesome to be a part of. I was in Mexico a couple weeks ago on a desert bighorn sheep hunt, and it was freaking awesome.
What is that?
This guy,
Is that a dick?
that is a Steenbok.
What? A steam?
Steenbok?
Steen.
Yeah, that's a rabbit with horns.
STENBOK.
Yeah.
So what's cool about Africa? So there's like,
Did you hunt that with your airsoft rifle?
I actually shot that with a 375 solid. Right through yeah, did minimal damage, believe it or not, but yeah, a little bit of overkill there.
Is that a
Just-
young Ryan Bassam?
That is a younger version. I actually had a little bit of hair up there too. I'm losing all that hair now.
Ooh, I did not.
I just shaved
didn't
mine
know.
off. Yeah, just go bald. So
I'm getting close to that. But there's a lot of tiny antelope. In fact, there's a tiny 10. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to shoot the big 5 or I want my spiral slam.
Yeah.
I know a couple of guys are like, man, I want my tiny 10. And there's 10 specific species. And there's way more than 10.
Yeah.
But they're cool little critters. They're fun to hunt.
Interesting
Yeah.
animal. I should say that some of the reason. So it sounds a little from a non-hunter's perspective, looking
Right.
at this discussion and these
Sure.
places you're traveling. You know, you can look at this and go, they're wanting to go and kill for the sake of killing.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about that and how I could present it differently. And I'm honestly kind of conflicted about it. I think, different brands try to portray it a different way and try to show that full holistic lifestyle of a hunter through a calendar year. And then I go through these moments where I'm like, we shouldn't shy away from it though. Like this is what we do. We go out with the intent of this being the end result, but we're so much, I am super excited about the process of getting to that final moment where this happens. It's, you have to appreciate the entire process, and enjoy, all the moments leading up to it and after the moment where you take an animal. And so, but ultimately, I mean, yeah, we go out to do this, and these are all memories that I appreciate. I look at all these photos, like the amount of the memories that flood back. Who was there?
Well, each one of these
the
animals.
adventure of getting there. Like that's what I look at those pictures and that's what I relive. You know?
Well, I was going to say each one of those pictures, we're admiring the beauty or the uniqueness of
Sure.
each of these animals.
Yeah.
It's not, there is a certain, I'm looking at animals, some I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, well, where does it live? And how did you hunt it? And
Right.
how do you get there? How much does
Exactly.
that cost?
Exactly.
Like all these things that go into the entire adventure. And,
Sure.
and I would say, like, with each of these,
Right.
on these types of adventures, my meat doesn't go to waste.
No.
No. If I'm in Africa,
Gets eaten.
gets used. If
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
here, I keep it. If I'm, all of that is just kind of,
Right.
for us, an assumption. For someone, just a built-in, like it's obvious.
Right.
But for people that don't follow along, they look at it and they go, "Oh, he's just killing all these animals and
that's-
bringing the horns home."
And that's where I think I could do a better job. Like if I'm going to sit there and post photos like this, or if anybody is for that matter, we should get better at showing the full process. We're looking,
food.
some of this is like 3-4 years old where we're at now, but,
Yeah, show
but
the food connection.
Exactly. Like bringing it full circle, I think is really important because like you were saying from a non-hunter's perspective, I mean, they look at it and they're like, good grief. Like all they're doing is going out here and killing all these things. And for them, they may think it's easy, but it's not. There was way more failures than success than
Right.
what's, perceived here on looking through all these photos.
Well, in each one of these things, as we discuss it,
Yeah.
it's an adventure. You're
Yeah.
going somewhere around
Right.
the world to do some kind of adventure.
Sure.
A lot of times you'll have people who are perfectly happy to go to the Yucatan Peninsula and
Right.
fish
Yeah.
and are really happy to go to Hawaii
Oh, yeah.
and catch all these fish.
Right.
Ryan, fish have no souls.
That's really it. It's like, wait a minute, there's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect. for
They
sure.
they don't think much of it. They think, oh, it's natural. You go
call
out
it-
and you fish,
the Disney World syndrome.
but you go out
The
and
moment Bambi started talking, down the toilet it went.
Or teddy bears, or lions, or elephants, or
You,
the stuffed animal stuff.
I mean, there's definitely,
But I think you do a really good. Like all these pictures are very tasteful.
Not all of them are dead animals. Look
Yeah.
at these birds on the wing and all this that we probably
Thank you.
died after that shot. But
I mean, even though like there are dead animals on this Instagram page, but like I
Sure.
feel like there's not a picture there that I feel is not
It's-
respectful towards the animals.
That one would be questionable.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
but-
As I say that,
But again, like 4 years ago, I feel like I've progressed as
what is a little bird in the middle?
this is a guinea fowl, so this is in Africa.
yeah, I think it's the beauty of the harvest too, is what
Sure.
you're capturing.
Sure. And there's so many, and that's the thing. Like, there's so many more elements that really go around this now, like training your dog. And
I don't feel the need to justify the
we should-
page or what I do.
we
I
shouldn't
do
have to.
feel the need to explain to
Yeah,
those who are
sometimes.
ignorant,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is a totally different
Sure.
approach and
Mhm.
motive.
Totally. Well, I mean, I remember a time when, man, I used to get when the whole Cecil the Lion thing happened, and the thing with the what's that girl's name, Kendall, that shot the lion, and that went kind of crazy.
The hot chick that shot the lion.
Yeah, like the amount of hate that I used to get was insane. Like death threats against my kids and judging the size of my junk and
Was it
lots of F words.
Was his name Swamp Ninja 2.0?
I don't know if it was him or not. I don't know. It could have been him. But yeah, man, like it was crazy. Like I would spend a couple hours every night just delete, block.
It's a lot of work.
And so it's evolved out of that, thank goodness. I don't feel like as hunters we see that quite as much. Women are targeted way more than the guys are. It's been interesting to see how social media has evolved, and we just kind of went through a trip.
I
down
think it's
memory
just
lane
weird
with all
how
that.
much hate that girl got.
Crazy.
I mean,
It's
like
weird,
they
man.
look at you and you kill stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, like no one thinks twice about it.
Right.
Okay, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
let's talk sheep.
Yeah.
What is the most affordable, good sheep hunt a guy can get nowadays?
So it's going to be doll sheep in Alaska. Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be your lower price point.
And what do they
most
run now?
attainable. Depending on the outfitter, I've seen them price anywhere between 18,000 22,000. Yeah. That's going to be the most attainable, because once you start going international and chasing some of the Argali, once you factor in cost of getting there and getting the trophy back through customs broker,
Stone
necessary,
and
the CITES.
Stone and Bighorn and Desert, those are all just out of.
Yeah, I mean, most of your stone sheep hunts, you're looking at 45, 55, desert bighorn sheep, 50, 60. A lot of that depends on the area. And good luck drawing a bighorn sheep tag. But you can go hunt them in Alberta, but 50 to 60.
The best way to get a
depends
sheep,
on who you work with.
if you really want one and you're a U.S. resident, is to move.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, really.
Move to Alaska.
Move to Alaska.
Dude,
I
Dorn.
think you can move
you
to
know
Canada.
Dorn wants to move to Alaska.
I mean, you'd become a Canadian, which would be a
Yeah.
sad, sad thing. But
Dorn
just
desperately
kidding.
wants
I
to move
love
to
Canadians.
Alaska, so then he can hunt in Alaska and hunt in
Hey.
Canada. That's his
Well, they-
dream.
Well, they do get
It's
that
crossed my
dual
mind.
citizenship.
Yes.
Which-
Yeah.
I don't think it goes the other way very well.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
enough about it.
I want to take advantage of. I would like to. I mean, do I have to marry someone from Canada?
Yeah.
What's the strategy?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm not 100%
Man,
sure.
It's okay. I like the one I got, so I'm gonna,
Might as well keep her.
I'm gonna roll with that. She's a babe.
Speaking of spouses and using them to go hunting, my wife has a bunch of family in England, and
Oh, that's
and so
cool.
I have to go over there this year. Grandma's getting a little old. She lives in Sandwich.
Gotcha.
That's all I know. Do you know of any good hunting
Gosh.
spots up in England?
Not super familiar with England. I'm definitely aware of the species that are there. There's definitely.
Do you know how
and
hunting works there? Because
I definitely, that's definitely outside my realm of
I just don't feel like
expertise.
they want to give an American a gun while I'm up there.
You can definitely go and hunt. Like, they have Chinese water deer, they have muntjacks. I have a guy that I would call and say, hey man, I want to go hunt Chinese water deer or muntjack or maybe roe deer or fallow deer potentially. Help put me in touch with the right people, and he could do that. And then a big thing there too, traditionally in most of the European cultures, their wing shooting of what would be upland or waterfowl is I mean, it's very sporting. Like, you wear a vest and a tie, and it's a totally different thing. But it's
I don't even wear a tie to church.
incredibly expensive. Well, you got the beard, like.
It's not there
I feel
anymore.
like you
I stopped
even
wearing
cover the
it.
tie.
I stopped wearing about 6 months ago because you can't even tell.
Yeah.
Dang, son.
I wear a sweater and it's
What's
just
living in that beard?
lots of stuff.
It's just crawling with
How do you like your
crawlers.
beard oil?
I attribute yesterday's festivities to the cat's meow beard oil from Baird's.
That's awesome.
All right, well
We'll have
done.
to get Brad Christian over here and let you guys talk beard stuff. He's got quite the mustache going
Does he?
and beard. Yeah, it's impressive.
Okay, before we
That's
wrap
impressive.
up, let's talk real quick. United States, North
Yep.
America, favorite bow hunting adventure.
Elk, man. It's my favorite. I know that's like the easy one, but it just is, man.
Yeah.
Like that game of chess, pursuing that animal, deer in the rut, and all the challenges that come with it is awesome.
And here
It's
we are.
tough to beat,
Here
man.
we are, Ryan, full circle, back to square one.
Here we are.
Hunting our backyards for the best animal on the planet.
Elk.
I know, and we all complain.
And
I want to go hunt something
I wanna
fun,
go hunt
something
something
exotic.
amazing.
Now-
It's like
Elk.
it's a gift, dude.
It
It's
is.
in our
Well,
backyard.
And you know
It's
what? Like, so here's where I'm at. Like, I've got these stupid goals, maybe stupid, and it's not about. It is about the species, but it's not about the species. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, check off 100 waterfowl species worldwide, and it's I want to do it, but the places it's going to take me in
How's
that
that coming along?
process. I'm getting close. I got like 5 more countries to go to. The chasing all the turkeys
Yeah.
in all these different places, chasing all these different species. But it's for me, a lot of guys, like, they'll go back and do it again and again and again because it's a cool adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go knock it all out, get the experience. I'm kind of looking forward to hopefully the day I'm like, you know what? That was awesome. Glad I did it. I learned a tremendous amount from it. I'm ready to shoot mallards in the timber of Arkansas, and
Yeah.
up in Montana in the rivers, chase elk
Yeah.
with my bow,
Mm-hmm.
and hunt in the Midwest for whitetail.
Yeah.
That's
And
how I
just
look
stay
at like
right here.
running
Yeah.
marathons. I want to go do one so I can say I did it and then never run again.
Yeah, that's kind
I
of
crave.
kinda where I'm
I
at.
do crave adventure. That's why
That's me too.
hunting. That's why I
too.
do more than just what's in my backyard. But
Sure.
I don't undervalue what's in my backyard
No,
by
you
any
can't.
stretch.
I mean, the hunting elk, and I love hunting whitetail too. That's what I grew up on. That's what
that's the other one.
where I
that
started.
I've undervalued in the past.
It's a totally. I mean, yeah, you're sitting there for long periods of time, but I mean, I feel like in a lot of ways to kill a big mature whitetail, that might be one of the more difficult animals to take in that way here in North America.
Yeah.
But gosh, I love hunting elk too. So
Mhm.
I love all the things.
Yeah, me too.
There's nothing that sucks when it comes, like, as far as the pursuit of hunting. Like, it's all a blast and a lot to be learned.
I love animals, dude. I love animals, all of them, even the birds in your.
Even the ugly ones.
Yeah, they're all.
They're intriguing,
awesome.
right?
That hyena, man, I'm gonna have nightmares about that thing.
It looks like a bat's head on a
I'm telling you,
dog's
dude,
body.
It's a vampire animal. It's
That's wild.
yeah,
Ryan,
crazy.
thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure.
I still want to pick your brain. I could talk for hours. I really could.
This is
Each one of
fun
these
stuff to talk about.
hunts you've been on. You've been to some cool places. You know of cool places because you help book and
Right.
do these things. So really neat to
A lot
to
of fun
have you
adventures.
on.
Come. We were going to talk about Australia. We should go do that. Come with me next year.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
let's talk.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun.
I that one is must happen. There's
gotta
certain
happen,
hunts
dude.
I feel like New Zealand and Australia fits this as well.
Sure,
That are a DIY kind of dream.
it can be done.
Mhm.
man.
And if
Totally
not
can be done.
DIY, it's very inexpensive
right?
when you compare it to the adventures had in other places.
Sure.
And for example, the idea of chasing like a water buffalo that could run you over, much like a Cape buffalo,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
dangerous game, but for a fraction of the cost
Sure.
of a Cape buffalo,
Mhm.
man,
Yeah.
it's pretty alluring. And I'm
Yeah.
always looking for those things that approximate another experience. It's like I wanted to hunt mountain goat. It's like hunting a sheep.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
approximates it in so many ways.
And there's lots of opportunities, and that's what a lot of people they did. I did this for a long time.
Mhm.
I was like, man, I'll never be able to hunt anything other than whitetail deer and ducks in Northeast Texas. I believe that firmly for a long time.
Mhm.
You know what? Dream bigger than that. Go out and get it. Make a plan. It's all attainable.
Yeah.
It's all attainable. Just put together a plan. Things happen, may slow the process. Man, if you want it bad enough, go make it happen. It's totally doable.
Well, I think sometimes it's I want it bad,
Yeah.
but you got to ask yourself, should you want it?
Sure.
You know, maybe you got kids to put through school instead.
Yeah, there's always that balance, and
You know?
that's why I say make a plan. Like, we've got different, for me personally, in our
student loans,
family.
Brian.
Well,
they can figure
We've
it
got
out.
different buckets. Like, we make X amount of money. This money goes into these buckets, and
Yeah, that's
I may
what
have to save for 20 years before I ever get to go.
It's like,
actually
Ryan,
personally
I would
on my
like
own sheep.
I would like $100 million yacht, but you know what? I probably won't get one. That's okay.
That's okay.
I'm
Doesn't mean you can't strive for it though. Dream big, Brian.
I'm very content with there's certain things I know I won't have in life, and I'm very much okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a skill
I
people
think that's
need
healthy.
to have.
I think it's healthy to do that too.
I really
for
do.
sure.
So, Ryan, people can find you at Igetducks on Instagram. And what is your...
What's your website? People want to go try to book a
Yeah,
hunt through
so
you.
our family website, it's the business is called Trophy Expeditions, trophyexpeditions.com. We're kind of revamping that website, bringing my dad out of the Stone Age. And their travel agency, my parents have been working together for 42 years, operating a travel agency down in Dallas, and that's called All World Travel. So Trophy Expeditions is kind of a branch off of All World Travel.
Yep.
But it's one-stop shop. You can book all your travel, anything travel related,
all the hunts, all the
things,
all the guiding, all the adventures.
It's all done there out of their business.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Anything to say, Brent?
No, this is great.
Awesome.
I
It's
want
fun,
to pick your brain now. Let's get off this.
Okay.
So I can talk some more.
All right, folks. Thanks
All
for
right,
tuning
guys,
in to the
thanks.
Gritty Podcast. And as always, stay gritty.